Hello, California Baptists. I'm Sarah Graham, Communications Director at the California Southern Baptist Convention. We are here in our booth in Milpitas at our state convention, and I am tickled to death to be sitting here with Tony Wolfe, Executive Director of the South Carolina Baptist Convention. You know, our letters are the same, so it's confusing.
They are a little bit confusing, yeah. But I'm also excited. I was thinking the same thing. I'm tickled to death. I think it was a quote I was going to say, to be here with Sarah of the California Southern Baptist Convention.
Yes. And we're here celebrating 100 years of the cooperative program. The fact that Pete was able to secure you as our convention preacher this year was really a gift to us in this really special year because I want to say authored, but you might have to clarify. Did you author this book, which I think is up here, A Unity of Purpose? Did you author it, or what was the process exactly?
So two chapters in there I did author, but Madison Grace, my friend, who's the provost at Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, he and I co-edited the book.
Okay.
So there are about 15 or 16 different authors, and Madison and I are two of the authors in the book as well.
Yeah, and we had you on our podcast not too terribly long ago, and I believe you called yourself a cooperative program nerd or geek. I can't remember which one it was.
I think that's on my name tag in South Carolina. Cooperative program nerd for sure.
So it makes sense that you were tasked to put this book together. I do want you to notice, look at this.
Wow.
I've been busy reading this book.
I like it.
And I'm just going to confess for everybody that I thought at first, how much could really be said about the cooperative program?
I'm hurt.
I'm sorry. Except for when I dove into it, I could not stop reading it. It's put together so very well.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I know you only wrote 2 chapters, but you must have done some research, was there anything that you a nugget of CP that you weren't expecting, that kind of the lid came off in your research?
Yeah. I mean, a few things. I'll give you 2 of them. Okay. One was the lack of what I would say is a comprehensive resource that contains the theology of cooperation and the history of our cooperation.
Yes.
And the mechanics of our cooperation. To have one resource that has all of those things together was something. I mean, there are pieces here and there, some great books out there about the cooperative program, but have one resource that I feel like exhaustively examined all 3 of those elements was a win. But Sarah, one of the things that really surprised me in all of researching all those books was that there's really not a standardized definition of the cooperative program. You would think for 100 years, we've been giving through the cooperative program, but it would be a challenge for you or anyone to find through a course of 8 or 10 or 12 really good books on the cooperative program a single definition that anyone would agree upon. So just searching for a definition, and then I listed some of them in the book, and then I just basically had to develop my own definition of the cooperative program, which you may or may not agree with.
Right. That actually makes sense to me because I find when I'm out in the real world and people are like, what makes Southern Baptist Southern Baptist? And then I struggle to define our cooperative program, which is kind of a hallmark of who we are. And that makes sense now why I struggle.
Yeah, we all do, apparently. Yeah.
I feel like only the seminary presidents ever just have it right at the tip of their tongue.
They always do.
Well, you are a state exec, so it's the same role basically that Pete Ramirez has here.
That's right.
So you have kind of the state view, which you're in the middle, right? So we've got the national entities, we've got the state, we have the local church. And there's a bunch of stuff in between. But you kind of get to see both sides of it very holistically. So as a CP nerd, I assume that means that you really appreciate the value of CP.
Absolutely.
As a state, what is the sort of signature driving motivator for churches as they consider whether they should be giving, whether they should be giving more? What is the reason?
Yeah, I think churches that want a systematic, comprehensive strategy for local and state and regional, national and global Great Commission advance.
Right.
Instead of just a targeted effort here or there, if what your church is looking for is a strategic, comprehensive missions endeavor, cooperating with other churches, then the cooperative program really is the best thing out there. It just really is. It funds the work locally in your neighborhood. You give through your church, and your church through the state convention. A portion of that comes back to the state's work, and that includes evangelism strategies and discipleship strategies and education strategies and church strengthening and church planting in your state and around your own neighborhoods, and comes alongside local churches to assist them and resource and network them in doing that.
Right.
And then what's the goal? The goal is to reach our neighbors with the gospel, disciple them, educate them, and mobilize them on mission so that they can do the same, reach our neighbors in the nation. So from your churches, as you're doing this work with other local churches, from your churches come up this next generation or current generation of church planters and pastors and missionaries and theologians and seminarians. And so if what you're looking for is a way that our local church can do all of these things well, be involved in the entirety of Great Commission work together with sister churches, the cooperative program is just the best thing out there. It really is.
Yeah, agreed. And I think about, the roots of the cooperative program, which I learned from the book, really. It's this idea about funding missions. And we really do care very much about global missions, right? But I think sometimes we get hung up on, well, I don't want my money to go towards administrative costs or those kinds of things. But those administrative costs matter.
Absolutely. Yeah, let me tell you, you want some of your cooperative program dollars to go to administrative cost. You absolutely do, because what we're running is a mission and ministry model that has to be backed up by and supported by a business model. You want efficiency and effectiveness. You want legality and accountability. You want those things, and you want to be able to trust those things in your missions model. Yeah. And so it's highly important that the operational, administrative, organizational costs are wrapped into the cooperative program. And it's also highly important that the people you entrust with that responsibility do everything they can to be as transparent as possible within our system, and also within the system that Southern Baptists have assigned to us. And also that they do the best they can to stretch every penny and make sure it gets where it needs to go for the advancement of the Great Commission on behalf of the churches.
And it works so well with our structure, our sort of bottom-up structure, where the church is in charge. Right. The church elects our leaders, and those leaders are then charged to be good stewards. And so the funds get spent appropriately and as wisely as we know how.
Yeah, that's right. And you see this in the book, and through 100 years of cooperative program giving and 416 years of Baptist cooperation, that this is the work of the churches. And I tell our people all the time in South Carolina and everywhere else I go across the nation that the work that we do is a work of facilitation. We are facilitating, extending, enlarging your Great Commission efforts. This is your work. The things that your state convention staff and your missionaries all over the world and seminarians do, the things that they do, this is your work. It's not our work, it's yours. And the beauty of the cooperative program is that you get to feel that. Yeah. You get to feel that.
Yeah. And we love the cooperative program, and nothing is perfect, right?
Sure.
And I know the conversation has come back around to I'm going to call it a la carte giving, right? Where it's like, well, our church only wants to send money to this way or that way. And that almost feels like we're going back to before the cooperative program, that if we stick to that model, 100 years from now, someone's going to say, we should have this collection where we put our money together.
This cooperative program of some kind.
How do we encourage churches who think, but for this one part, and then we kind of throw away the baby with the bathwater?
Yeah.
How do we?
Yeah, we had that for 80 years as a Southern Baptist Convention. We had what was called societal giving. So, and leading up into the 1920s, it was called unsystematic giving. It was just an unsystematic giving structure. And they're right, it really was. So what you have is all these entities, which we love, having to employ people as fundraisers, and then they're spending 40 or 50, in some cases 65 and 70% of their cooperative resources that were given to them for the purpose of fundraising, so they can go out and raise more funds.
Right.
And that wasn't effective and it wasn't efficient. And then the entities that are closest to you by geography or affinity of some kind, they end up getting the most funds. So it just didn't work mechanically.
Right.
But more than that, it doesn't work missionally. And I may even get some pushback here, but this is just, I'm the cooperative program nerd, so here I am.
Yeah, you're the one who knows.
let's take the International Mission Board, for example,
Okay.
which is, I mean, you talk about if we had this one entity that we would want to hold up and say, we have to do this. This
Right.
is our heartbeat as Southern
Right.
Baptists. I would hold up the IMB any day of the week. But the IMB doesn't just need missionaries. It needs missionaries who are theologically trained. And in many cases across the world, and some of the most places where the gospel is needed the most, it doesn't just need theologically trained missionaries. It needs missionaries who have a Christian worldview in a very particular secular field, like business or nursing or
Right.
education. And we get those in Baptist universities, like California
Right.
Baptist universities. And that's just education.
Mhm.
But a lot of those students who end up at the Baptist university or at the seminary, they were raised up in local churches, and those local churches took advantage of state convention camps or associational ministries, and it was there that they came to the Lord and surrendered to ministry. And
Yeah.
so the IMB needs, and they would say this, I talk to Paul about this all the time, they need the entire ecosystem of Southern Baptist life and ministry to work.
Yes.
We all do. It's not just IMB. We all need. Where would seminaries send missions, where would they mobilize missionaries to after they were theologically trained if there was no IMB?
Right.
And how would we work together to systematically plant churches all across North America if we didn't have a centralized a mechanism or a centralized mission board for that purpose? So even, I mean, we raise up in South Carolina, you raise up in California, you raise up missionaries, church planters, pastors, and you need a mechanism through which to send them. So picking out one entity or two or three that you feel like is closest to your heart or that you feel like is less controversial in this season, all of those things. And I'm not saying don't be wise stewards. I'm saying be wise stewards.
Yeah.
But the thing about the cooperative program and Southern Baptist Mission and Ministry is we need it all to work.
Yeah.
And if it's going to all work, the entire ecosystem, we have to have a unified funding strategy for that.
Mhm.
And that is and has been for 100 years the cooperative program.
I love the word ecosystem. I feel like it's finally clicking in. You need the whole.
That's right.
So the ecosystem doesn't break down. Well, thank you so much for being here and for the investment that South Carolina Baptists are putting into California Baptists.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate it. We know that you have a lot to do with our church planting movement that's here. And so we're so grateful for that. Do you have a final word for California Baptists as we celebrate 100 years of the cooperative program together?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of times I hear from Californians and California Baptists a word of gratitude, like Sarah just said, for South Carolina Baptists, and you're so welcome. But I would say thank you for making partnerships so easy, for being focused on the gospel, on Great Commission, church planting, church strengthening, evangelism in your communities. It is so easy for South Carolina Baptists to partner with California Baptists because you focus on the mission and you keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah.
And so I would return the thanks and just say thank you for being such a wonderful partner in the Great Commission.
Thanks so much. And as we close out, I'm going to ask you to sign my book.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye-bye.